Okay, this is my very first attempt at playing with HHO. My very first plate configuration. I took the standard Lowe's uh, stainless steel plates with, I'm using 9 plates, complete 9 plates. I'm using 4 nylon bolts holding them together, and I'm using the thinnest nylon washers I could buy out from Lowe's to separate the plates. Basically a positive on one end and negative on the other, and 7 neutrals in the middle. If you notice, I've already ran it. Basically 4 times. This last time I ran it for about 45 minutes and built up all this sludge on the top. I've got some initial observations. The solution I'm using is the first solution I used was plain tap water straight out of the sink, and just kept adding Morton salt to it until I got my till I started getting about 4 amps on the 4 amps showing on the battery charger. It started creating this brown sludge, so I said, well, maybe that's just cleaning itself off. So I would got rid of that, changed out the solution. This time the solution is filtered water, which is, when I say filtered, it's still tap water, but it's filtered for particulates, and it's running through 2 stages of carbon filtering. So that should have got most of the chlorine out of it, I would have thought. But this second solution, no matter how long I run it, it keeps generating this sludge on the top. And I believe I am in agreement with Smacks boosters, Electrobike, I believe, here on the YouTube, that you need a distilled water, and you need some sodium hydroxide. I believe this is it. I'm going to try this on the next set of solution. I couldn't find the stuff that Smacks recommended. I saw the brand, but I didn't see the actual product he was trying to get. Anyways, some initial observations is that when this runs, the hydrogen production appears to want to prefer sharp edges. I mean, I'm sure you can force it to be created against the flat surfaces, but it has a very strong tendency of wanting to come off the sharp edges. And I'm somewhat in disagreement with 0 Point, as his design configurations want to seal this up and just leave small vents at the top and the bottom, because he's making the point, which is a valid point, is that the electricity wants to go the path of the least resistance, which would be around the plates from the outside to outside. I don't necessarily agree with his logic. I mean, it is valid, but I think what you really need is you want to take advantage of the fact that it wants to do multiple paths. And I've got an idea about what I want to do for the next plate configuration, and it is to increase the number of sharp edges. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, some of the observations I see, hydrogen wants to come off sharp edges. The sludge is highly conductive. So once your plates touch that sludge, you've basically shorted out your plates, and your production will go away. And so you want to avoid creating the sludge at all, if at all possible. Now, the other observation I've noticed is that I believe the oxygen is not actually being released from the water. It is combining with either with both the impurities of the water that you're using, plus any of the materials that are leaching out of the stainless steel are being is combining with the materials in the stainless steel, and it's creating this sludge. And if you look at it close, it's of at least 2 different colors. So that means it's merging with 2 different materials. There's a red, dark reddish brown color, and some black. And depending upon where you measure it with your own meter, you're going to find The resistance of this material can be as low as lowest I've read it so far, just by spot checking it, is about 41 ohms. You want to avoid creating this sludge if at all possible. This sludge, whatever, if you're creating solids in your HHO cell, that's a bad thing. Because eventually it'll create enough sludge or enough particulates in here that it'll start shorting out your plate, and then your production will go down. But let me fire this up so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, when it starts firing up, what will happen is some of this material will get slushed off the bottom of this thing and circle down. But over on the oxygen side, which is going to be the positive plate, you'll see that it is producing this black crap, or this sludge, and it's wanting to come up the back side of the device. Now, the other thing that's bad with this is that as this sludge builds up, less and less of the hydrogen is able to make it out of the sludge, or make it past the sludge and get out. What happens to the hydrogen that can't get out, it swirls around and it gets absorbed back into the water. Now it's still hydrogen. In other words, you've got hydrogen in here, but it's not released. It didn't come out of the solution so that you can burn it. Alright, let me go plug it in and show you what this looks like. Stand by. Sorry about that. Alright, plugging it in. As you can see, we're starting to hydrogen, and you notice there's almost no oxygen being released. But you are getting this brown sludge. Let's see if I can turn this around a little bit better without stirring up that brown sludge too much. And brown sludge is coming down. Well, most of that is being swirled off the top. But the oxygen, I mean, obviously you're not going to have near as much oxygen production as hydrogen. But I believe a significant portion of the oxygen that's getting released is actually recombining with the materials in the tank, in the solution, and collecting at the top. This stuff at the top works like a daggum barrier. I mean, the hydrogen's got to work real hard to get through it. So what little's coming out is very low. It's limiting the amount of production being allowed to come in here. Yeah. And when it pops, the reason why it's not popping very loud is because it's pure hydrogen rather than hydrogen and oxygen, rather than hydroxy. So whatever it pops, it has to get the oxygen out of the air around it. All right. So what I got in mind to do, and you can see it swirling that brown sludge off the top of it. What I got in mind to do is to change my solution one more time and go with a distilled water and sodium hydroxide. That's basically what I had available. I saw some liquid solutions in there. I may go with a liquid, but I'm just, like I said, this is the first time I've done with this, and I've already seen things that I'd like to improve. I want to change. I got an idea about what I want to do with the plate configuration. Change that. Take advantage of the fact that we want to do multiple passes, and it prefers to do sharp edges. So I got a few ideas for that. Anyways, that's it for this particular test. If I got anything worthwhile, well, even if I don't have anything worthwhile, it'll be a little bit before I create my next video. All right, thank you.